why the heck not? Right? We're going a little early today. We're doing a very special little bit of drink and draw. Me and Dave have had some excellent conversations in the past. So tonight we figured we do something maybe slightly more chilled than what we've done in the past. Maybe
Yeah.
slightly. Yeah.
It's
But
great to be back on, Josh. So quick
oh, it's
after the
always
first one. Yeah, our last conversation was pretty deep. So yeah, let's just talk about
okay.
like 80s cartoons the whole night or something like that.
You know what? I'm good, dude. Honestly, I, I think the cool thing about doing this show is I never know what I'm going to expect. A lot of people are like, "Well, I don't know what I'm going to talk about with you." I feel very much the same way. I have no idea what we're going to talk about. It's
Yeah,
just what connects, like what connects for the night, and
sure.
at different points, it's right. It's different things for different people. Like sometimes you want a serious conversation. Sometimes you don't. You just don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah.
You know. So I got everything there. So I get to be the all important. Doing this too has also taught me I can multitask a little bit better than when I started doing this show on Twitch.
Hmm.
So you can look at comments and almost sound like I'm important and stuff and knowing what the heck I'm doing. Almost.
Sure.
Almost. Hmm. So, how often do you draw?
Every day.
How long on average?
How long? I try to get at least
He froze.
the kids and the wife have gone to bed, something like that. Sometimes being an art teacher. Oh, all right.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, you just came back. I
Okay,
heard you
I'm
just.
okay.
I heard you mention something and you just like did a magic freeze.
Yeah.
Might have been
So
on
you
my own on
you
that one. Who knows? But I
that's okay.
mean,
But you froze up on me for a second there too. So a few minutes ago, not the same time I did. So just so it's a whole new setup here. So maybe I'm mucking up the works.
it's all good.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
But
not
yeah,
sure you're mucking up. Sorry, go on.
yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I try to 20 minutes a day, but being an art teacher, I draw with students all day long. So it's not the same as creating my own comic books all day long and sitting down for an hour creating my own books. But it does keep me moving and keep me going and keep the muscles flexed. And that's one of the real positive things is I just
I think. Well, hello, whoever showed up and said hello. Um, okay, are you there? You're back. You're back. I think. Can
Josh,
you
are you
hear
talking to
me?
me?
Yes, I'm talking to you.
I can hear you. Sorry, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. We apologize, ladies and gentlemen, for the disappearing act that is the internet. It is
Yeah.
evil. Oh, praise our internet overlord or something to that effect. What I was going to say though is, I think the best thing about you being an art teacher and what you're doing is also the fact that you're getting the discipline in and out. I think one of the most important things about art that's never really talked about too much is it's that ability to show up day in and day out, whatever it is you're choosing to do.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the things too that it really gives you confidence. The students sometimes they lack that confidence to start drawing, and with art, it's one of those things. You have to get it. It takes years and years and years, but to get it, the younger you get it, the better it gets. I think the quicker you get it is let's just draw and let's see what happens. It doesn't need to be the most perfect thing in the world. Let's just draw and let's go for it and let's see what happens. And no matter what, I'll learn from it.
So the breakthrough for me was I had this like fear for a long time that I would suck. And
Mhm.
then I had this wonderful thing, like the wonderful thought that came afterwards. So what if you suck?
Yeah,
Right? So what?
yeah.
You know? And then it's about learning and getting better. It's not about like doing it right. It's about
Hmm.
just doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I think every artist I have that feeling every once in a while. I look down at the panel and go, "Oh my gosh!" And yeah, and then you put it away, and then you come back to 'em like, "No, it's not that bad, but I can do better. Let me try it again." And you just continuing to move forward. I think is one of the hardest things to do in anything, but especially in art because it's such a practiced medium. Like if you want to do it but don't do it, you're never going to get better at it. And if you do it um, as much as you can, it's just like I tell my students, I don't know how to draw. I hear it all the time at the beginning of the year, and I tell them stop saying that. You can say it if you want to, but it's not going to help you at all. It's just like riding a bike. The more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yep. I
Like
think
anything
that's
else.
everything. I think that's everything in life. To be honest with you, doesn't matter
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
I mean, I may not want to jump off into the deep end of brain surgery just to get started, but I'm not like,
Mm,
and that came into my head because of all things. We're talking about drawing monsters,
mm.
and so I still remember the Simpsons like Halloween episode where Mr. Burns is performing brain surgery as an ice cream scoop.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yes, like it's like, but it's still the same concept. It doesn't really matter what the skill you're trying to do is.
Mm.
It's just about showing up and doing said skill, whatever that
Right.
actually looks like.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, for me,
And something
so
well, something like art that people think that you have to be born with the skill. Like people think, oh, I'm not an artist. I wasn't born with that skill. Well, nobody's born with a skill. Nobody's born with a skill. Like maybe there might be some people who are a little more cognizant of how to do, or where it goes a little faster for them. But that's anything. That's from plumbing to reading to digging a ditch. Some people are just
yeah,
going to be better at it than others. And art is one of those things that anybody can do. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions is that you have to be born with this already ingrained. Take the time to learn the rules and learn them till you wake up screaming, sweating, saying them from deep sleep. And then once that happens, then you can try to find ways to break the rules.
well, it's art's a game of expectations. That's
Hmm.
what I've learned about art.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Art's just totally a game about expectations. So the rest just kind of figures itself out, and
yeah.
that's what I've learned. Now that doesn't mean I'm always right. I don't always. I'm going to change my mind slightly about what I'm going to be drawing because there's a friend of mine
Mhm.
who I promised would be in my book, and I'm killing her in my next book, and so I'm going to practice drawing her.
Nice,
Right,
nice.
because I don't know about you, but friends want to be killed in your books. I've noticed that. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy to think that, but that's totally it. I
Yeah.
just noticed that
Mm.
that when they go and do it, and when they try to do it, that when your friends just will go and say, "Hey, by the way,
Mm.
I'm trying to. Can you have me dead in your book?" And I'm like, "Well, sure, I can kill you anytime
Mm.
because I'm awesome that way," or something at that point.
Yeah.
But to the point that I no longer believe you can punish somebody by killing them in a book. I think the only true way to punish them is like do something really evil to them, like fan fiction. Fan fiction is like the ultimate evil way to kill somebody off in a book.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if I've ever had anybody want to be killed off in a book. I do get all the time, will you make me a character in your book? Um, and I always say, sure, just be more interesting. Sometimes they like that answer, sometimes they don't.
No, I can see why that would go both ways. Actually,
Yeah, yeah,
what do you mean I'm not
yeah,
interesting? You're just not.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, oh, not that you're not interesting, just be more interesting than what you already are. Plus it up. Let's see what happens.
Like, that's nice, but I mean, I feel like you've already crushed their souls already.
Well, you got
You've
to break
already
them
crushed
down.
them.
You got to break them down and then build them back up again, right?
I see. I see. That's your master plan. Okay, I will
Sure.
break you and then make you strong again, or something. I don't know.
And I don't
I
know if
don't know.
I'd want it even if I did.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't even
Funny.
started drawing yet. I'm gonna start drawing here.
Yeah, that's okay. This is the. Like I said, this is kind of like when this whole idea for me was kind of just an idea
Yeah.
because I realized like I'm playing with my podcast. I'm doing a visual, right? what's more visual to the cool thing you can do than draw,
Mhm.
right? And so I looked at that and said to myself, well, that might as well do it. And it forced me to get out of my comfort zone. It's like, okay, can't hide anymore. You gotta go out there and just, you know, freaking draw. Go out there
Yeah.
and do it. Don't be afraid of what it looks like. And I've learned that like it doesn't. I wrote this as my motivation today for people in general was I don't really care about your win loss record. I care about your effort because
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
that will say a lot more about you than whether you got it right. I mean, none of us get it all right, and
Oh yeah.
not supposed to. I don't think. I think instead we're supposed to like just learn,
Yeah.
and so that's kind of what I'm learning in this life. Like it's not about really how good you are, as oddly enough, it might be the least interesting thing about it. It's really about just how much are you willing to come in and do it.
Mhm.
Showing up, it seems like such a silly rule, but it is the rule. It's the rule I kind of live by. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just like show up. It seems dumb, but it seems to be the rule of life. You know?
Getting out of bed sometimes is the hardest part, and then
Oh,
once you do
absolutely.
that, you're good to go. I saw something the other day on gosh, it was probably a YouTube video I was watching, and they were talking about how procrastination, and I'm not the worst procrastinator in the world. Everybody is on some level, but they were talking about how the less steps you put in between you and the thing you want to do, the harder it is to procrastinate. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're talking about like going outside or going to the gym to work out or whatever it is, just pick an example. It doesn't matter, but that's the one I'll pick.
Okay.
They say, well, make sure you pick a gym that is 5 minutes away rather than a gym that's 20 minutes away. Pick a gym that you enjoy going to, or make sure that you don't go home between work and the gym. Go straight to the gym. Like it's like cutting out those different steps in it. And then they're like, and if you can just have a workout station in your home, in your basement, and your whatever, that cuts out the whole step of having to go into the car to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that cutting out of of all the different steps and trying to make it as easy on yourself as possible will really help to stop with procrastination. It was something I was like, oh my gosh, I need to start looking at this to see how many steps am I putting in the way of me doing my thing. How many
Yeah. No, it's
other
true.
than 2 hours?
It's so true. Like procrastination is well, I came to a very big realization about
Mm,
4 years ago,
mm,
and see if you agree or disagree with me. Right? Is basically that people at the end of the day do exactly what they want to do. It
mm,
doesn't really matter who they are. It's they do exactly what they want to do.
mm,
And when I realized that, it gave me a whole different perspective on the human condition, in the
mm,
sense that I understood now it's not it's not what people think that really gets people in the way. It's the fact that it, it's the fact that people have this really tendency they'll do what they want. So the question is, well, what are they doing and why? And furthermore,
mm.
why are they doing it?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Why are they doing it? And once you have that reason figured out, or at least more figured out, at least,
Mm,
right? And suddenly you understand the person a lot more,
mm.
right? And it's easier to forgive people too, because you see it in such a different way.
Oh yeah.
Although people I find get a little bit more pissed at you when you come to that realization.
Yeah. Well, people don't like it if it's some kind of, I hate to use the word flaw, um, something that maybe you don't agree with. How about that? Because it might not be a flaw in them. It might just be something that isn't quite clicking with what you're doing. And somebody points it out. That's not fun to be pointed out that, hey, I wish you did it this way. And like, well, I don't do it that way. I do it this way. I'm sorry if it doesn't mesh, kind of a thing. But that can be tricky. That can be hard for people to hear.
I think honestly, it's not even so much that. I just what I find is it cuts out excuses.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not honestly. I can forgive you
Okay.
doing anything you choose to do in life. It doesn't matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I just what it allows me to do though, and this is where I think I guess this annoys people. Right? Is
Mm-hmm.
okay. You didn't do it. And they're like, well, yeah, and then I can just move on a lot quicker like for everything, including like guests for a show, for example.
Sure.
Right? I've had a couple guests like right at the last minute go to me, hey, listen, I can only do a half hour.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the thing about that is that's fine. Like I don't mind when those limitations are set relatively early on.
Mm-hmm.
But at the last minute, I'm like, okay, you don't want to be here today. And again, I'm not holding it against you per se.
Mm-hmm.
But what I am going to be like, it's like, so you're trying to, all right, you don't want to be here. I'm not gonna I'm
Yeah.
not gonna hold off. Like I'm not gonna like judge you for it, right? I'm just gonna treat you like you don't want to be here, and it's amazing how you disarm people sometimes when you say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not again. I'm not saying it like this as this is insidious crime,
Yeah.
right? I'm just saying, okay, you don't want to be here. Okay,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I get that. And so, I mean, it's sometimes it's so obvious too, like whether it's somebody where you're working with or somebody that you are just maybe in a relationship with, maybe friends or girlfriend or whatever it is. I mean, it's so easy to see, and once you spot it, it's hard to unspot it.
Mm-hmm.
And to have that sort of realization can be tough.
Yeah, it's well again, it's just I actually can forgive it a lot easier than I used to be able to forgive it.
Yeah.
The big thing is I understand it now.
Hmm.
So when I look at people, I kind of just look at what they do and more importantly what they don't do, and I ask myself, well, why are they doing it this way? What do they want? And once I understand that, I'm pretty forgiving. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean I'm going to put up with it. That there's a different. It's not necessarily the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
just coming to that realization that hey, okay, you for whatever reason do not want to be here. I will not get in your way, but
Yeah.
I don't want to hear your excuse either. Right? I don't.
Sure.
I'm not here. I don't have time for that. You still want to be here,
Yeah.
and that's fine.
And it might be something that's completely uncontrollable to them also. It might
Oh
be
sure.
something that they maybe, or they have some sort of trepidation to be there, or they're uncomfortable for some reason. And
Oh,
it might not be the situation. It might just be something internally that they can't control.
and that's totally fine. Like
Hmm.
again, I'm a lot. Once I understand what you want, again, I forgive that. Now I
Yeah.
gotta have boundaries because that's just you have to protect yourself, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yep.
But but at that point, once I understand, it's like okay, do what you want,
Yeah.
and it throws people off when I say it like that. But it's the truth. Like I'm not gonna stop you,
Hmm.
right?
Oh yeah.
But I'm not gonna give you an excuse either. Do what you want, and
Yeah.
I'll live with it either way. I'm not gonna hold it against you, right?
Yeah.
But you're doing what you want to do, and that is the important part, not the and I don't need to hear your reasons. Just
Yeah.
just do it. Yeah.
Well, that's a big thing too for a lot of people is they think they need to explain every single aspect of every single decision they've ever made to somebody, to anybody, and really I think that's one thing that I um, am really cognizant of. If the answer is a no for whatever reason, they what was the phrase I heard it the other day and I loved it. It was no is a full sentence.
Mhm.
So if somebody says no to me, I'm like, okay, I understand. Thank you very much, or whatever, whatever it is. Or if I say no to somebody else, and they're like, oh, well, why not? Why not? Say, the answer is no. I just don't want to do it. Sorry. And moving forward, and that's tough. That's really tough for a lot of people to hear, get behind, and to be okay with, because they want their thing to be the coolest. You know what I mean?
Well, no is a very simple word. It really,
Yeah.
really is, but it's hard to say.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And as I've
I
gotten
agree.
as I've gotten older, I understand why it's so hard to say,
Yeah.
right? But at the
Oh yeah.
same time, you have to protect yourself. You have to be very cognizant about
Hmm.
what you're doing, what you're not doing,
Yeah.
and it's okay to say no.
Sure.
You know, there's no crime, and again, the biggest crimes we commit to ourselves is when we're not honest with ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard. That's hard. That's super hard sometimes
Oh, absolutely. It
because
might be
you
the hardest
want to
thing.
be. Yeah. I'm sorry.
It might be the hardest thing of all, to be perfectly
Hmm.
honest. At least at
Oh yeah.
first. At least at
Well,
first.
I think everybody has that vision of themselves in their brain, or that I want to be this, I want to be that, and sometimes you can't get past that bias of your own hope to be a thing, or be that person, or be that thing. I've known many people in my life. My dad was a big proponent of be a leader, be a leader, be a leader. Like I heard it my entire life growing up, and to this day, quite honestly, I still don't know what that means, other than to be confident in myself and be confident in my choices and know that I'm making good choices for me and hope that that rubs off on, I guess, maybe the people around me, but definitely my kids, and their situations and their lives, so that they can see the confidence that I have. To me, it always kind of seemed like he was saying, make sure you're the one to start bossing everybody around when things go south. You know what I mean? Or be the one to tell people what they should or should not be doing. But that was never me. I was always like very outgoing, very around from friends to friends, but I wasn't the one that was um, gonna have everybody hitch their post to my wagon and drive through the hills. It was always, hey man, do what you got to do. It's cool, everything's fine. So that's one of those things uh, where you grow up thinking you have to be one thing, but then realizing whenever you do, I don't need to be that. I'm happy with what's happening. Kind of thing.
My thing is just be honest with yourself. That's
Oh
it.
yeah.
It's like everything you do is an example is an example. Something that took me a long time to figure out.
Hmm.
Right? It is an example. It actually says an awful lot about you and what you value and stuff like that, right? It does speak to that.
Hmm.
But also, hmm, I didn't do her justice, but it was a good first try for sure. Well, anatomy is one of my weakest things, and I
Hmm.
gotta get better at drawing this particular person because I'm going to kill her in my story. So
You got to know it's her. She's got to know
yeah,
it's her that's
that's
being
it, right?
killed.
That's right. No, and she's actually and secretly she's actually one of my favorite people too. I really enjoy
Nice.
her. How do I put this? I enjoy her ability. Like I enjoy her laugh. I love making her laugh, and
Nice.
she has a really good she has generally a very good outlook on life, and
That's good.
someone I'm rooting for. So
That's good.
all you can really do. But again, I got to work on anatomy and proportions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's like for the first time, got some things right, got other things we need to work on, and that's how you learn.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. I'll show you later. I'm not embarrassed to be totally. Again, one of the other things I've learned in life is you learn that you can. Again, if you're not afraid to look bad, you're not afraid to fail, you're not afraid to succeed, nothing can stop you.
Yeah, Josh, I think you cut out there for a second, but I agree with you 100%.
Okay, what part did you go?
That if you're not afraid to fail, you're not afraid to succeed. Did I get it all? Did I hear it all?
No. So what I said was, you're not afraid to fail, and you're not afraid to succeed. Nothing can stop you, because they're the same fear. There's two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I think one of the thing is a lot of people don't see them as similar things. Every failure is getting you closer to success. Mm-hmm. So instead of seeing failure as your inability to succeed, failure is your ability to get closer and closer to not never failing. Everybody can fail at any time, but to getting closer and closer to getting to what you want to do to succeed in that thing. And that's hard for people. That's especially, I think, nowadays people want it right now. I want it right now. And that's not realistic.
No.
I mean, what was it Jack Kirby didn't start drawing until he was what, in his like mid 40s, something like that, if I remember correctly. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. But it's that, and Rodney Dangerfield didn't start doing comedy until he was in his 60s. I mean, is that too old of a poll right there, Rodney Dangerfield?
No, it's okay. Christopher Lee at 90 cut his first rock album song.
Yeah.
I mean, there are no rules in this life, man. That's one thing I've learned about life. There are no rules.
Exactly.
So just do what you kind of feel you're ready to do, and don't worry about it, and good things will happen to you. That's what I learned in life.
It's a good plan.
Yeah.
You want to show what we've got going here already, or you want to wait till
I'll show you my first one. I'll show you my spectacular. Like for a warm up, it's not too bad. Can you see that?
That looks awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did a proportions a little off, but yeah.
That's all right. The style, the dress, everything looks really good. Hair looks really good. Proportions look good. Nice.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to do it a little bit better than I did last time, and until you finally get the full person. But yeah. Mm-hmm. Again, no fear. No. Again, you just have to be. Yeah. So, for those people wondering, what does the fear of success and failure of failure is the same fear, but the exact fear of what you're fearing is change. That's what you're fearing. That's the fear. It's the fear of change. And what I mean by that is, so when you're, again, failure is a result of you trying. So you're sometimes afraid of looking foolish, afraid of being vulnerable and being scared. So that's failure. Success, right? The failure of success is, well, the thing about failure is familiar to us all. We are all a little familiar with failure, right? But we've all fallen our ass off the bicycle. Unless you were special. Were you special? Did you not fall? Did you fall on your ass on the bike when you learned how to ride a bike?
I fell off my bicycle more times than I can count.
That's a lot. Dave.
That's a lot. Maybe I shouldn't have been on a bike.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe I shouldn't have been riding, but maybe that's the lesson.
Some people do, but some people, that is their lesson, right?
Yeah.
That is their lesson. By the way, there's no, and one of those things I've learned as I've gotten older, it's not about what you do or don't do, it's why you don't do it. Mm-hmm. That's what I've learned.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned, and it's made me more cognizant of some things that I wouldn't have been cognizant of, in the past. But again, fear of success, well, suddenly you're somewhere. I don't know about you, Dave, but anything I've accomplished that I've been awesome at has never been the plan.
Oh yeah.
It's never been
Yeah.
the plan.
Sure.
I'm doing a show right now for Canada Immigration. Never would have imagined myself doing that. Ever. Never.
Yeah.
I talked about Quebec's history and culture this week. It was cool. It was
Nice.
really, really cool.
Nice.
Never thought I'd be doing that. But
Yeah.
here I am.
And it's those things you fall into also that can be the most rewarding too, because you might not even realize, oh, this is the thing that I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna add some cool hands to this monster.
You got some
I
cool
had
hands.
I had hands, but I didn't like them, and now I'm gonna do something a little different. I've got a lot of detail in this monster. I think this is probably one of the best monsters I've ever created. He's just super cool. I think so.
Mm-hmm. As for me, yeah, I'm figuring out, the anatomy of this person I'm drawing a little bit better. I think.
Good.
We'll find out. We'll find out when we get there. I suppose. But again, it's one of those things in life. You can't be afraid to screw it up. You can't be afraid to.
Exactly. See, I had.
So what terrified you more? Fear of failure or fear of success?
I wouldn't say. I don't know. It's a hard question to answer because I don't know. Um, I don't know what ultimate. I'm going to say it weird, but I don't know what ultimate failure, ultimate success really means to me. You know what I mean? Like, to me, ultimate success is not $1 billion. To me, ultimate failure isn't not $1 billion, right? Like, I am at 46 years old. I'm pretty content, Josh. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Sure, there's
Like
nothing wrong with that.
if DC or Marvel called me up and said, "Hey, an editor read your stuff. Do you want to write and draw? I don't know, pick a book. I don't Cloak and Dagger." I would say, "Yeah, let's do that." um, but if just creating my thing, which I love, is as far as I get, that's okay for me. That's still success for me. I think the biggest problem is that I've seen is that people have this idea of success that is a yacht and the big house and the on the beach and the limousine or the whatever. The idea is, and to me, that's not really something that I care about. I want to make sure that my kids are happy, that my wife is happy, that we can go on vacation from time to time, that my kids' shoes aren't ripping out of their toes aren't ripping out of the front of their shoes because they because they can we can get them shoes when they're ready, when they need them. And to me, that really is success. Just being content and happy with not reaching for other people's stuff or seeing something that other people have and saying I want that too, but look at all the great stuff that I have. Look at all the great things that I'm doing that make me happy, that are fun for me and fun for my family and fun for us, and being content with it. So I would say that already I feel pretty successful compared to where I don't mean 100% monetarily, but compared to where my wife and I were 10 years ago. We were, to me, we're the richest people in the world. It's it for me. And for me, that's it.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
What I've I think Here's what I think. I think
Yeah.
I think having big goals is a great thing. It pushes
Yeah.
you. It
Hmm.
it absolutely pushes you. And I think having that is a wonderful, wonderful try. Again, I told you I didn't expect doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
My goal now is not to be working for anybody. Now that doesn't mean necessarily mean $1 million. I mean I'm making a living doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I want at this point. It's not rocket science. It's not um, me trying to be like spectacularly different or weird or just I think I'm good enough and I have the audacity to go out there and say, you know what, I'm too old to work for people. I want to do my own thing, whatever that
Yeah.
is. And
Yeah.
I'm a lot closer to that right now than I ever was.
Yeah.
Um, my talents, and again, my big mouth. I never knew my big mouth would be the secret to my success, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so funny that you say that because I was talking with my kids. We had a weird day today. Monday and Tuesday are, to give you a little insight into the teaching world. Monday and Tuesday are parent teacher conferences. So, as a humanities teacher, as an art teacher, I don't see students on parent-teacher conference days. They're half days because they can't fit all of them in. So we just don't do it. So today we did um, drawings of things that I usually pick a topic and they draw that topic. Well, today's topic was, what do you want to be when you get older? I try not to say grow up because especially the older ones, fourth and fifth graders already feel like they're grown up even though they're not. So I try to say when you get out of school, when you are graduated and you decide what you want to do after high school, whether it's college, great, awesome, whether it's a trade, great, awesome, whatever it is. And we just have a discussion about what possibilities there are out there. And I tell them the same thing I tell my kids, that if there's something you like to do right now, there's a job for that. Like I tell, if you like riding your bike, there's a job for that. If you like digging holes in the dirt, there's a job for that. If you've got a big mouth, there's a job for that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that a lot of times too many people uh, don't let kids play their strengths. Don't let students play to their strengths and say, yeah, your video game that you're on maybe too much in a day, but that could be a job. That could be something that you could do for a career. You could design video games.
Absolutely.
And a lot of kids don't understand. If you like drawing pictures, that's a job. If you like swimming, that's a job. You know,
Can be,
not
yes.
everybody needs to follow the same path, and that's something I don't think kids hear enough. That I try to say out loud a lot to and my kids, definitely my own children.
So, do you do TED Talks at all? Do you ever watch TED Talks?
Say it one more time.
Do you ever do TED Talks? Watch TED Talks?
Oh, watch it. Oh, yeah. TED Talks. I do.
So
Yes.
my favorite one of all time is called "Why You Will Fail to Have a Great Career." It's my
Okay.
favorite one of all time. It's
Okay.
about pursuing passion. And I'll put mine down while you explain this, and so I can also grab a drink of some tea.
Sure.
I'll show you version 2 of Miss Nikki Nash. That is who I'm drawing tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to see what I'm comparing to, just look her profile up. If nothing else, I am a man of my word. So I do try to keep my promises. It's something I think is very important in life. But his whole thing, my favorite part of that conversation is um, he talks about reasons why people don't pursue a career and whatever it is they love to do. And there's a zillion excuses.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And he lists them all, every single one of them. And, my favorite one was the very end. I want to be, I'm a people person. I want to have a career where helping people and not pursuing my passions. Because this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to have a kid one day. And your kid's going to come to you and tell you what he wants to do when he grows up. And you're looking forward to this conversation because deep down he's good at math and you want him to do this. So the kid comes up to you and goes, I want to be a magician. And you're starting to look and you're thinking, it's like, well, it's risky, kid. It could be this kid. It's like, but it's my dream. And what are you going to say to your kid at that moment in time?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the worst thing a lot of us do is we use our kids, our family as shields
Mm-hmm.
to get away from what we really love to do. And I thought about this because, again, I've been thinking about this lately. I remember high school talking about realistic goals. When I got older, and I look at
Mm-hmm.
my very crazy ass life, I've done nothing by the book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not normal at all. I have no regrets. I can look at people that have more material things, more successful in all these things. They're fucking miserable. A lot of them, not all of them,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but they're fucking miserable. This
Yeah.
is what I was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Blah blah blah. What are you
Yeah.
drinking? Like this alcohol that's almost like that could start a car because they're just trying to get through the day,
Yeah.
or they're on some kind of antidepressant, or they're like this doing what you're supposed to do shit. I mean,
Yeah.
is so overrated. Don't get me
Oh, yeah.
wrong. I'm not saying duck your responsibilities,
Mm-hmm.
but so many people do not pursue their passions,
Yeah.
and I think they kill some of the least interesting parts of themselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I 100% agree. I was very lucky growing up that my parents, and maybe it's because they saw that I couldn't do anything else, but when I started developing, love to draw, they were very aware of it and very supportive and very helpful in certain aspects. To the point, I think we might have talked about this the last time I was on, or maybe the time before that.
For that.
They knew that I wanted to draw, and we were talking to my high school art teacher. Maybe it was my middle school art teacher. I was pretty young. I was probably 15, and she said something that he needs to do to really hone his craft is figure drawing, like nude figure drawing.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents kind of looked at each other like any parent would, and said, "Oh, okay, we'll talk about it." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, 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 let's do that." So on the drive home, my parents talked about it with me and said, tell us about that. What is that?" He goes, and was telling them it helps me to learn anatomy. It helps me to learn how to draw. It'll give me confidence. It'll get me out of your hair for an hour or two every once
Yes.
or twice a week.
And they're like, yes.
Yeah, yeah, really play it into them. But they were aware enough and supportive enough of what I wanted to do that they sent their 15-year-old son to nude figure drawing classes. Um, and I don't know how many parents would do that. Maybe more than I think. But I think that it's one of those things that they really, it was the first time where I was like, yeah, they get that this isn't just doodling on my math work. This is something that I could do for real. And I thank them for that. It's every single day. They really pushed push me to know that if that's what you want to do, go for it, go at it. And they're, after a lot of stops and starts, and stutters from time to time there, but it's finally me doing exactly what I want to do, and which is creating comic books. And like I said, if it gets to a higher point, to where I could work for the big boys or work for companies that are supportive and great and want to tell great stories, then I'm 100% down for it. And it's that support that I think that I got growing up that a lot of people in our position, in my position, don't oftentimes get. They go, "Oh no, you can't. No, you can draw pictures, but you have to do something that's going to earn you money too."
Yes.
Which is a crock. It's a crock.
Well,
I've heard. Go ahead.
well, no, I just that so there. Show you Nicki Nash version 2. I like the face.
Nice.
I think I did the face better. Can you see
Yeah, it
that?
looks good. Yeah, it looks good. I like the pose. That's
Yes.
good. Here's what I've got going here. Can you see? Let's see. Okay, so
I
I
see it. Oh yeah.
let me see if I
Undead
can get it.
monsters.
Yeah, so I can see if I can scoot it over the right way, scoot it over the correct way there. So this is one of the characters here that's being hung up by a tree monster, but it's actually this way. So
Very hangman.
yeah,
very hangman.
Yeah, so it's kind of blurry on mine. I hope it's not blurry on yours.
No, it's all good.
You see
It's
it?
all good.
Okay.
People that get to watch this later on be like, oh wow, Dave
Yeah.
really knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm trying my hardest. So
I think one of my all-time favorite things. I was living with a roommate at the time, and brought his girlfriend home.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember she went to me, what do you do for a living? I go, I'm a writer. I had a day job, but I never mentioned my day job as anything because it wasn't me.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh. And then she saw my books. Oh my God, you're a writer. I'm like, well, yeah, it's what I said I was.
Yeah.
But apparently a lot of people that talk about it and do it are very, very different people. I don't know.
Yeah. I get. I think I think on some level when people hear that you do something in a creative field, they on some level feel like I wish I could have done that also instead of sitting in my cubicle, typing out TPS reports. I think sometimes that's what people. They don't care to put things, but want to sustain whatever is already there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well,
And that's absolutely fine. Also, it needs to be sustained.
if that's what you want to do, by all means. Like, I'm not
Go
going to
for it.
tell anybody to not do it because
Yeah.
I certainly am not. There's a buddy of mine. He's a plumber.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted to do. He did it. I'm not gonna tell him. Don't. How dare you go take a plumber? Right? How dare you?
Yeah, go do it. Plumbers do pretty well if I understand the business of the plumb. If I understand it.
Yeah, they. I mean, it's financially, it's a pretty stable career.
Yeah.
This is something nobody really wants to do. Like, if
Yeah.
we're being very honest.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, do you want to deal with toilets all the time? Most of us
Absolutely
don't.
not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's like, do you want to deal with the toilet? Well, no. No,
I mean,
don't.
I can pay somebody to come in and deal with that for me. Let's do that.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's do that instead.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. So that's the thing about what I've learned about so there are there's people who are accountants that love their job.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't be that person. But that's again, the world is not just about me. I know it hurt my ego to acknowledge this truth there, Dave. It really, really did.
Yeah, I understand.
But
I understand.
But once I was able to, I was able to do that. It was like, once I was able to do that, I was able to actually be, at least I'm not going to say a perfect person, but a better person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good thing. That's a really, really good thing. You just realize that. But whatever you feel passionate about, this is what I've said. It doesn't matter what it is, right? Don't. Yeah. I said this in my motivation today. I really don't care what you do, as long as you give it your best. That was what my dad always told me as a kid. And as an adult, I realized something very important. That's where most of us lose. Is we don't put that effort in.
Yeah, it's and it can be tough for people to acknowledge that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think once you do, it's good.
Yeah. Well, I think the hardest thing too about going for anything in life, doesn't matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really have full control where you end up.
Yeah.
Like you don't. Yeah. You have to kind of think about the hardest thing about life is you got to acknowledge, I have no idea if this is going to magically work out.
Yeah.
And,
oh yeah.
And even when you got like one of these supposedly secure jobs, what are you, a plumber? What are you doing now? I'm teaching physics in a classroom.
Mm-hmm.
How did that happen? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. You look at people and you're like, that doesn't happen. Oh no, it does all the time. People end up in positions they never expect to be in,
Oh yeah.
and you're like, so something you want, if it's something you absolutely want, right?
Hmm.
Um, you'll find yourself pleasantly surprised the whole way. If it's not something you want, you'll find yourself pleasantly surprised the whole way. Just
Hmm.
the only difference is will you enjoy the ride or will you be fighting it your whole life, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's a little different on that one,
Oh yeah.
right? So, but what I've learned in life is I only care really about one thing. Are you trying your best? Beyond that, really, I don't care about anything else.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah,
I'm
I'd
trying
be
to
a good
fix
motivational speaker, I think.
I'm trying to fix a hand here. I had a character's hand and it wasn't quite going in the right direction, so I'm trying to fix on the fly, as whoever they are, as they say.
Okay, you fix they.
I'm gonna move this way. I'm gonna put this. That's better. There's where that pinky goes. A trial and error, right?
Oh, that's life.
Move that down. This goes here. Now we're whistling Dixie.
You're whistling Dixie. Okay,
All right, an old Bugs
that's
Bunny
that's that's a very
phrase.
that's a very old phrase. You ain't just whistling Dixie, my
You
friend.
just whistling Dixie. I don't know if it's a politically correct phrase to say anymore at this point, but
You know, I honestly don't give a rat's ass about politically correct anymore because it
sure.
just doesn't it
Yeah,
doesn't matter. It's my
I
I've
think.
gotten to the point with political correctness where I have literally I'm not trying to hurt anybody. Like that's
Mhm.
the honest and if I do cut a line, I hope people have the guts to tell me, hey, Josh, I'm hurt. I'm like, well, I might ask, well, why are you hurt, and
Mhm.
go through explain that whole process to me because I am slow because I am from Canada. You gotta don't hold that against me too much. But I I'd rather make a mistake than learn from it
Mhm.
than and say, hey, I can figure this. My bad. I learn.
Yeah.
I think mistakes are forgivable. It's when you're trying to be hurtful for the sake of being hurtful. You know what
Oh
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Intent is definitely an important factor that don't people sometimes don't. Like, well, clearly when I said, ain't whistling Dixie, if somebody was offended by it, um, I clearly did not mean it in any kind of way to offend somebody. I was just saying a funny thing Bugs Bunny used to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think intent is very, very important. But if but also on the flip side, if you get to a point where you're saying something and it's gonna offend somebody and you say it anyway, then I think that's one of those decisions you have to make on your own. Some people aren't afraid of. I'm not afraid of offending people, but um, intentionally hurting somebody is never a goal, right?
Yeah. Uh, That one's a fine line, I think.
I agree. I agree.
It, it's a fine line because that okay. So I a miscommunication breaks down in three. There's three ways that miscommunication can happen.
Hmm.
Okay, two of them can't be questioned, which is intention and impact. Right? You
Yeah.
cannot question either of those. Right?
Yeah.
Right? You just can't. There's nothing to go by.
Hmm.
Right? What do you mean I did this? Yeah, you did this. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. And I can't. That is all there is to it. There's nothing else to go by. You know,
Yeah.
other than um, that's what happened. This is how it worked out. Right? This is how it worked out. And if you say I meant no harm,
Hmm.
there's really nothing anyone can say to you, right?
Yeah.
Because how
Yeah.
are they going to know? intentions are intentions, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
But
that's
but
that's. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, but impact can't be ignored either,
Yeah.
right? Impact can't be ignored either. So then comes down to one question: interpretation. Can you and the person you're dealing with come to an understanding?
Hmm.
And if the answer is yes, then we got something. Again, you can build a fence. Sometimes you
Hmm.
can't. Sometimes it's just you see the world a little too differently too, right?
Sure.
And that can be fair. You know, that
Hmm.
can be totally fair as well. But again, it's not about intentionally trying to hurt people. It's a combination of trying to be the best person you can be, but
Yeah.
also just realizing that maybe, just maybe, you might be too. And this happens too. You just the way you come across and see things
Hmm.
might be just a little too strong and harsh for whoever's listening to you too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I agree that it could be something to where you don't realize what you're saying is hurtful.
Yeah,
Um, but I think there are a lot of, unfortunately, there are a lot of people who 100% know what they're saying is hurtful and don't care.
sure.
Don't care. Yeah.
And I'm not. And again, I can't argue again. But the thing is, I can't argue intention.
Sure.
If someone goes to me, I didn't mean to,
Hmm.
unless there's a history of it, right? Unless there's
Yeah.
an absolute history of it, you can't honestly argue with that. But I
Hmm.
mean, what are you gonna say, right?
Yeah. You know what
But
that reminds me of? Oh, sorry, go ahead. But
no, all right, go on. You can come jump in.
that you know what that reminds me of. Do you remember the old movie? And at this point, it is a completely. It would never be made in the 21st century. See Thomas Howell, and I can't remember. I believe I remember the actress's name, and I can't remember the young lady's name. If you give me a minute, I bet I can remember. But it was called Soul Man.
Okay,
Do you remember this movie?
I did not see this
84,
movie.
85.
It's a little early. It's a little before my time.
Oh my
Just a
gosh, I'm
little.
an old man. So, it is about a student who loses his scholarship to a college and comes to find out that the only scholarship left is just for African American students, just for black students.
Okay.
So he decides to essentially, and we all know this is wrong. Everybody should know this is wrong at this point. Put on blackface and tell the college that he is a black student to get the scholarship because he had no other way to get to college.
Oh
Which
yes.
the premise falls apart there because, of course, there's other ways to get there. But there was so the premise alone would not fly today, of course.
Hold on,
Um,
reload it.
yeah, but there was these two characters in the movie who, and it's a continuous plot line that threads through the movie to where these two characters are walking through the hallway, and this white kid who is portraying himself as a black student hears him telling racial jokes,
Mm-hmm.
and the two white characters telling the jokes are saying things, tell the joke, and they're laughing, they have it up, and they see him and they think he's a black kid, and they go, oh, sorry man, sorry about that, and he's like, oh, no problem, whatever. Well, as the movie continues on, these two characters keep popping up and telling these jokes, and the main character, it starts to, which it should, starts to weigh on him, and
Mm-hmm.
he starts to really feel the plight of what so many people go through with these kind of jokes. And as he goes through, he starts to react in the way that a black student would normally react in those situations. But to me, the point was the two characters who are telling the jokes. They say sorry, they don't mean it. and, that, and that's what you get sometimes in those situations, to people who are doing the things that they're doing and go, oh, sorry, and they just think their sorry is just a blanket okay, and everything washes away and everything's fine again, but then they keep doing that thing over and over and over again, and that's I think where the problem is,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I definitely can see it for sure.
Mm.
It's tricky because I think I think context is everything too. Like that's the it's a fine line. Like I said, going out of their way to deliberately hurt somebody is definitely um, it's definitely a no. You really shouldn't do that, right?
Yeah.
It's a terrible um, it's a terrible way of doing and being and living. You don't need to be cruel for being cruel,
Mm.
right? On the other
Yeah.
hand, right? Um, like I said, it's hard also to break habits too, right? Like
Mm.
I look at today the trans movement. I
The
get
what?
the trans movement.
Oh, okay.
I get my pronouns screwed up with people sometimes all the time now,
Hmm.
right? And no matter how hard I try, I still mess up.
Well, I think if you have an honest effort,
Oh
I
yeah,
think people
no,
understand. That's still a fairly new thing, and I think there are a lot of people that still don't quite get it, and don't want to get it on some level, they can be left behind in that aspect. And really, um, that's something that is so um, new
oh yeah.
it's easy to mess up from time to time. That's I think most people if they understand that your intent was to not be rude or to not mess it up, they'll give you a pass.
But like I said, intentions
Yeah,
impact
exactly.
interpretation, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So I also remember how we used to talk back in the '80s because I was around a lot. There are things, okay, right?
Yeah.
There are things. My dad's from Detroit in the '70s and '60s. There are things I've learned that I can't say to most people
Mhm.
because if I did,
Yeah.
it just would not register that way anymore,
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Well, we as a society learn and grow, and something that was seen as a joke or maybe even an appropriate name for something.
Yeah. Oh,
People
absolutely.
start to realize, oh, that's not great. We should not be doing that. Hopefully, and so they adjust. Right. It's hard for people to adjust too.
And that's well again. That's why I say like we're talking about intentionally hurting people, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about intentionally hurting people. Sometimes it's hard, right? I think that's a very like I said, I give the benefit of the doubt until basically words and actions prove otherwise, right? And actions say everything,
Yeah.
right? If you deliberately are coming across and just pushing a button for the sake of pushing a button, because we
Hmm.
all know there are people that do that,
Oh yeah.
right? That is much different than somebody who's trying. Like I said, context is everything. It really, really is. So I don't quite have the same because I can't. Again, I just look at the fact. Like I look at some of my biggest mistakes in my life,
Hmm.
right? I'll give you an example. I was talking to somebody, right, and and I grew up. I was a master tickler. Master tickler. Well, some people consider tickling assault, right? Some people consider it right. Some people just consider it a common just way to bond and get along. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sure.
So everybody's different, and everybody's got different tolerances and different ideas, and
Oh yeah.
also different cultures, different like like I said, in different forms. And what I'm hoping, not it's not it's I don't know if it's sensitivity exactly. It's just understanding that everybody's contexts are different. What bothers
Hmm.
people is also very different from person to person.
Oh yeah.
And person has to tell you, but assuming they tell you, you stop.
You adjust. Yeah. Of
Yeah,
course.
assuming they tell you,
Yeah.
right? That friend I would never. That friend I joked about tickling. I'll never tickle them because again, for them, it was
Hmm.
cruel,
Yeah.
right? I'm not
Hmm.
so that there's So I will never, ever threaten to tickle that person. My sister's fair game. She's getting
Hmm.
tickled. We have a little arrangement.
Yeah.
If she punches me, she's getting tickled. That's just how
Mm.
it works.
That's also a
Right?
very very intimate thing.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
I'll be honest with you. My kids tickle me, try to tickle me. I let them do it. I'm not a fan.
That's fair.
not, I'm not a fan. It is like you're laughing, but it's that laugh of, oh my gosh, please stop doing this.
Yes. No, I get that. Right, but again, it's again for everybody, it's a different form of expression.
Hmm.
Right? Oddly enough, although it might for some people that might seem like an abusive thing, but it really isn't. It's a way of bonding, and without actually, it's
Yeah,
annoying to you,
sure, yeah.
right? But, but yeah,
Yeah, and they see it as a just a fun thing that we do, and it's I tickle them, of course, back, and um,
yes, it's all to them. It's fair
yeah,
game.
oh yeah, they're getting a little too old for that kind of stuff now, but yeah, it's fun.
Some things you never get too old for, my friend. That's just the way it goes. Yes. You
Well,
hope
man, sure,
you're
yeah.
hoping. You're hoping.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, it's like, please stop. So listen, David's kids, stop picking on your dad. He's getting old and
They are.
brittle, and he can't take it anymore.
They're bullies. They're
They're
bullies.
bullies.
They know that I'm an old man and I can't fight back as well as I can. No.
uh,
So I got three of my main characters in here. They're looking pretty good.
it's cool.
Looking pretty good.
I need to play with color a little bit more for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, I gotta get. That's what I'm getting for Christmas is a coloring set for my art. Because yeah, she's wearing basically blue jeans and
Nice.
black, but
That's now that you brought that up, that's a fun thing that I'm trying really hard to get into more is like fashion and style. And I know a lot of people their books, it's really easy for them to make their characters look so like fashionable and different outfits and everything. My characters definitely have a look that I try to emulate through each of the stories, but still stay pretty consistent with. But that's something that's as a 46-year-old white dude who never really cared, who's jeans and t-shirt guy. That's been a really fun thing for me to really explore and really to do different things with, especially with different characters, of trying to have um, different forms of fashion, have their personality shine through a little bit more through their fashion. That's something I never thought that would be something that I would really find enjoyable, but it has been, especially in this book. It's been really fun to be able to explore the characters' feelings and personalities through their clothes.
oh, absolutely.
That's been fun.
That's the whole idea.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yeah. So Raymond McClellan on Facebook goes, Mr. Drew Josh and Mr. Allen going and doing the awesome. We're trying, Dre. We are absolutely trying. We are absolutely trying on this. Want to see what I draw? Like I said, I wish I had color to play with, but this is what I did here. You want to take a quick look?
Yeah, let's see it. Nice.
It's getting there.
Nice, yeah. Looks really good.
Yeah. Yeah. She'll get these things in the inbox. I'm like, well, I'm starting to draw you now because I'm trying to get myself into what I call drawing shape for you. So when I actually put you in the book and you die horribly.
Nice. Do you have the way she is going to her demise planned out already?
It's actually it's so my story is a homage to Fahrenheit 451.
Nice.
And ironically, it's about art. One of the reasons I'm drawing in the story is because it's the discovery of drawing, right? I've actually only been drawing for about a year,
Mm-hmm.
so I think I've come a long way inside of a year. But no, so I met Nikki on the podcast. We just came in, and the first time we interacted, I just had her laughing the whole episode. Just one of those things. I picked up on her humor really quickly into the conversation, and I just couldn't help it. My challenge is how many times could I make her laugh? And so I thought and it's still one of my favorite interviews from last year. It's like she was great. Like, I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Or was it even early this year? Might have been early this year too. I'm not sure which one, but yeah, it was fun. I had really enjoyed making her laugh.
Sure.
And I was writing the story. I was putting the story together. It's like, I'm doing. Well, you got to do. My favorite thing in Fahrenheit 451 is the first 20 pages, because it's when Montag meets Clarice, and Clarice just completely wrecks his world with the simplest of all questions: are you happy? Thanks, Ray. Doing my best. Yeah. Getting better. But no, it's one of those things. It's one of those things where I recognize with like the idea of making somebody happy. It's like, what art's about when you get right down to, no matter whether it's horror or it's science fiction, or whether it's just a picture of or it's fashion. You're communicating joy in life. So yeah, I just remember that last, like, so I went to her. It's like, hey Nikki, can I kill you in my story? I'll tell you the same way she died, off camera. You'll die off camera, like just like she did, because that's actually what made it kind of really tragic. Is one day she was there asking questions, getting Montag to think about the world he had chosen to live in.
Yeah.
And then the next she was gone, and he was left with the importance of, are you happy? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? I read this book at like 15. It was like, this is the first and only book that's ever scared me.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Because it talked about human emotion and the soul. Like, big time. That's what Fahrenheit 51 is about, this dark dystopia, but it's also about like the human spirit.
Yeah.
And how in the darkest times, sometimes the brightest light shine. It's a really interesting concept, right? So I wanted to do a homage to it. It seems oddly appropriate for this time, and
sure, yeah.
So I decided, but I decided, instead of making it about reading, I decided to make it about drawing, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was a new discovery for me, and it made me look at the world in a very different way. So why not explore that a little bit inside the pages as well?
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm excited about that concept, that idea of using that same kind of idea of wasn't Fahrenheit 451 the thought police?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm trying to remember the context of the story, but having that same idea as art, it seems to be fairly interchangeable, to where someone could easily use that same idea using the arts, using visual arts. As the thing that they're trying to control. You think about certain visual artists that, I mean, even from the classics like Michelangelo and Peter Paul Rubens to I'm trying to remember his name, Jeff Koons, who is if you've never heard his art, go check him out. He's got some great, like, really off the wall, really fun but thought provoking stuff. To be able to try to quell that kind of creativity, or try to stop the public from wanting to see those kind of things, I think is interesting.
Yeah, well, it's just, so we live in a very interesting age in that we're kind of, okay, so here's the cool thing. I am talking to you from your home, and that's awesome. That's amazing, right? On the other hand, we're not doing this in person. So while there are a lot of things we're getting, one of the biggest, smallest things we're not getting is eye contact. That sounds like a really small thing, but it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
How we meet, interact, we go back and forth. Now, when I'm in town, when I'm walking around in the mean streets of Canmore, right, which I'm probably making a lot of people jealous of all the various mountain pics I've been posting on
they have looked amazing, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's my yard. I am not like shitting. Like, that's my yard.
That is really cool.
Yeah. how did I end up here? Like, say, one of those like life story lessons right there, guys.
Yeah.
But
Oh
yes,
yeah.
but yeah. So, and also to my grandmother, if you are watching this, you always talk about that, but never my other stuff. It's like, come on, just support me. Just say, talk about my books just once. I mean, no, it would be awesome. But yeah, like I said, curse being an artist. But no, it's just like one of those things where I like you make eye contact with people, you joke, you interact, you play,
Mm-hmm.
and what ends up happening, what ends up absolutely happening is, um, you realize like this here, what this is, like this is great, but there's still distance. There's still a lack of complete connection,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh yeah.
The fact that I'm
Yeah.
not giving you a high five or maybe a hug. I feel you're a hugger, but I also could totally see like the handshake high five thing.
I'm good with it all, quite honestly.
Yeah,
My wife makes fun of me because because I give high fives, and sometimes she's like, "Why are you high fiving?" I'm like, "Oh, it's fun. High five.
yeah,
It's fun."
exactly. It's just that's it. It's not about being like um, who cares what it looks like?
Yeah.
Again, I've gotten old. I don't give a shit. I don't care what it
Yeah.
looks like. I'm having fun, damn it.
High
If
five
you
it. It's
don't like
awesome.
it,
Yeah.
that's okay. You don't matter.
Sure. Sure.
I'm having fun. That's the important thing.
I'm not gonna lie, Josh. I'm pretty happy with the way this is coming out.
Yeah, I see that. I see that.
I
I,
once I
I'm gonna
got the
do one.
characters. Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna do one more, and then we can wind down and talk. I'm gonna do one more attempt on Miss Nikki, but I'm not gonna do so much for figure as I'm going to do her face because I want to get her face a little bit more right. I think.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, and then if she did watch this episode, she'd probably be a little embarrassed. I think, or flattered. I'm not sure.
I think flattered.
Yeah.
I don't know her, but from your description, she seems pretty laid back.
All in all, you know, uh, no, like I said, I think she's going to be. She is already an amazing musician. I think she's awesome, and
Awesome.
I am nothing but rooting for her to succeed at whatever she chooses to do with her life because she's that good, and she really, really is. So
It's
that's
awesome.
that's how that. But then again, I'm always one of those guys that kind of tends to look at people and go, "You can do this. You don't need me
Hmm.
to tell you this. You can do this. So go do it and be awesome. Be the best person you know how to be.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need me to tell you that. I certainly don't. Again, we all have our good days. We all have our bad days. I don't always win. You know,
Hmm.
but I try. That's all I think. All any of us can do.
You could say you did win because you tried.
Sometimes, sometimes you still feel like you. Sometimes you still feel like you lose, though. You know that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, all you can all I can do every day is do my absolute best to be the best person I know how to be, and
Yeah.
that's it. And as I get older, I realize that standard is entirely subjective,
Yeah.
but it's also like it might be the only real struggle in this life worth it.
Hmm.
Maybe that's a weird analogy, but I just realized, most of us, none of this shit, we can't actually, um, carry this shit with us when we go.
Hmm.
So all we really got is the impact we make on each other and what we make each other feel.
Yeah.
So the rest doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, it's kind of the same thing. You go through life, and as long as you're not hurting anybody, do your thing.
Yeah. Yep. But don't worry. But don't worry about pissing people off too much.
Well, I don't know if making people mad is the same as hurting people.
No. It's not the same
Yeah.
thing. But it's one of those. I almost feel like you're doing it right when you do piss people off a little bit. And I'm not
Oh,
saying that
there's
to
yeah.
deliberately cause trouble, but I just feel like if you're strong about something, if you believe strongly and are doing what you feel is the best you can,
Hmm.
right? Somebody is not going to agree with you.
Oh yeah.
That's just how the universe works. So it
And
occurs to
there's
me that maybe like, worrying about and going back to what we said earlier is it's kind of why, like I said, context is so important, right?
yeah.
I'm just going to do my thing, and I'm not going to worry. That's I think all in all, that is the right attitude. I just
Yeah.
think I just think like again there is that line between hmm, learned something about our eyes as we were talking. That's okay. Um, one of those things constantly learn and grow and expand. But the thing is, I realize something super important about life is that you don't always you're not going to make everybody happy.
Hmm.
You're not going to you're going to be wrong. Sometimes you're going to be the villain, and that's okay too. Sometimes you're just going to be the villain.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the ebb and flows, right? The ebb and
Yeah.
flows.
Yeah.
One of
So
the things I find hardest about when on a show and drawing at the same time is is, is focusing on everything that's happening.
oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm
oh,
not,
look at that! Look what I just did there. That's either the greatest thing I've done or the not greatest thing I've done. But let's focus on that for a second. So,
no
but
worries.
that's always a fun part. I'm gonna scoot this way so it can be seen because I'm getting pretty close here, and I think I really like it.
Yeah, yeah. I can finish this. I can finish this later. I think I did some interesting pictures. I'll probably send her some. It's like I did my best, Miss Nikki. I hope you like them.
She's gonna love it.
Yeah, but no, man, you're good. Like you're really good.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah,
Can you see that with the light here? Let me turn off my
yeah.
light
Go
here.
ahead. I can see it just
You see
fine.
it with the light off? There we go. So that's gonna be the cover to 18.
Nice.
Yeah,
The hanged person.
yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
Looks like they're caught in an evil spider web of some kind.
I don't want to give too much away. They're definitely caught. Yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
definitely. I can
yeah.
see that. Definitely can see that, my friend.
Visually, I would say that this book is. I've really tried to push it a little bit further. Visually, I was trying to find that angle or that whatever, but there's a couple shots where I'm like, oh my gosh, I did it. And that's as an artist, that's a difficult feeling to have sometimes. So I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'm moving in the right direction. So not to toot my own horn or anything, but if I don't, nobody else will. So yeah, so this one, there are a couple of visuals there. I'm like, yes, awesome, I did it.
I how did I put this? Um, yeah, ego's good. I for the first year, like this has been my first year drawing,
Mhm.
and I've done lots of stuff. I've done Bugs Bunny, I've done Alice in Wonderland, I've done like Full Metal Alchemist, I've done all this kind of wild stuff, right? And I'm
Mhm.
like, expression's been my focus because probably at some point in the not too distant future, I'll be working on a comic book of some kind,
Mhm.
right? I'll try it, right, and see how
Yeah,
I do,
sure.
right? But I'm doing an illustrated like novel that's a homage to Fahrenheit 451 first, and then we'll see if I want to continue beyond that, or it's like maybe that's good enough.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't
I
this is
I would say that if you did that and you felt successful, whatever that means to you, I don't think you'd say you'd be done. I think you'd want to keep going.
probably
Yeah,
probably.
you get
I'm
the
certainly
bug.
not
You
gonna.
catch the bug.
Uh, I just like what it does to your creativity
Oh yeah.
because what it's done for me is it's given me like an opportunity to kind of look at some things
Hmm.
um, like differently. It's made me look at storytelling. And by the way, you got a compliment from Mr. Raymond McClellan once again. He thinks what you've done is absolutely stunning.
Oh well, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I wish I could see the comments.
I
I
wish I
can't
could
see them on
see. If
my.
you go on my Facebook page, you can actually
Yeah.
go and see the comments.
Sometimes I try to have my phone in front of me to be able to see them, but there's so much going on here. I was like, let me just let
No,
me
no,
just
it's all
focus
good.
on this.
I mean, we're done the drawing part. I think of the drink and the draw. I think we're just probably going to quietly, slowly wrap this up because
Sounds good.
this was a much more chill chat than our last couple of ones. So
Yeah, I agree, but a good one. Maybe again next time we could have even take it down a little further. Like I said, like '80s cartoons, or even though that could probably get pretty heated too. '80s
also,
cartoons,
I
not heated, but
oh
that
god
could be
no,
pretty deep conversation also.
I can't help myself. I'm silly and deep at the same time. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm sorry.
I didn't hear. Say it one more time,
I'm
John.
silly. I'm silly, and I tend to think about things just too much. I just cannot help myself. I can't turn it off. The
Yeah,
brain
that's
is
all right.
always going.
That's right.
But anyway, dude. So did 17 come out?
17 came out. It was the last week of October. It came out. So only about two. That was only like 2 weeks ago, maybe two and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's still pretty fresh in there. You can find all my stuff correcthandcomics.com, links to everything I've ever done. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, any kind of social media. If you look up Correct Handed, that's gonna be me. Just look for the
Is
big
that
left
correct?
hand, the
I
big
always ask this.
correct hand.
Is that correct? What I got there?
That's it. You got it.
All
Yep.
right. So there's that, and then and I'm going to do this over here so that people can do this and go watch because I'm a trained professional, Dave. Totally. Where people can go and if you want to see more of his work, definitely check out the website either on Facebook, right? And notice
Yeah.
when Facebook puts, I put my comics up on Facebook. It's right there. It's just how it goes.
Yeah.
But for everybody watching and listening, correcthandedcomics.com is where you go find Dave. Go check out his comics. And if you guys haven't seen this, like the piece he's working on, it's pretty sweet. Actually, before we wrap up fully, I did have one fun question to ask you.
Yeah.
You're already doing the cover to issue 18.
Yeah.
So how far ahead of you are you on a comic before you release the one?
It really depends. At this point, I can get an issue done from beginning to end in about 2 months. And that seems to be where I've kind of landed as an indie creator to be able to get at least an issue of The Offspring out every 2 months. In between it, I'm able to squeeze in from time to time a one shot. And so it's once I have when I got issue 17 done, had it published, had it ready to go. It was all formatted and got it out. And I always tell myself, okay, I'm going to take a day. I'm going to take 2 days to just relax and just do, just not worry about comic books. And that lasts for about 3 hours until I say, nope, okay, I'm ready to go now. I've got a cover going. I've got the first pages. I've got them thumbnail. I've got all the pages thumbnailed. So let me just start getting pages penciled. So about 2 months is what it takes. But when issue 17 came out, and same thing with 16, 15. I had the next issue thumbnailed, but nothing officially penciled. Nothing officially done for the next issue. But I about 2 months.
That's fair. No, I just asked that question because it just
Yeah.
seems like I don't know. Some people do covers last, some people do them first. It's just like one of those things where it just like I guess that's the last thing I'll ask, and then we'll wrap up. We'll just do the final wrap up.
Okay.
Are covers always first, or is it just depends on the mood?
It depends. I'm probably 5 or 6 pages into number 18, and I've had the cover in my brain, and I penciled it out 3 or 4 days ago. So I had 6 or 7 pages of 18 done before I had finally ended on this one. So yeah, sometimes the cover will come out first. But it doesn't have to. It doesn't always have to. I'll usually when I have a cover done, when I get this done, I'll scan it in and get it onto Facebook so people can see it. But sometimes if it takes me, a couple issues ago where I didn't have a cover until probably about 3 days before I was ready to publish. I just wasn't happy with the covers, and I was like, I guess this is what I'll do. And I woke up and went, that's it, that's better. And I started doing it and colored it, and 2 days later it was ready to go, and was able to get it out on time. So yeah, sometimes it's just flying by the seat of my pants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all good. Just figured I'd ask. So, you want to try to do this again next year sometime?
Mm. Do you to do like a January February
That's
thing?
what I was thinking. Somewhere in January,
Yeah,
February.
that'd be great. I'm down. I'm down. Do you want to do just a chit chat, or you want to drink and draw again?
What did you prefer?
I love drinking and drawing.
Okay, so we'll drink and draw again in the new year sometime, my friend.
Sounds
All right,
great. Sounds
we'll
great.
do that. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to. I think this was a nice, fun, chill, relaxing Friday night for everybody, and I'm not done this week. I got one more guest tomorrow. Troy Lambert returns to the podcast. That will just be exclusively on Twitch. If you are watching this now, that'll be where that'll be. And then my audio episodes will continue the ramp up. I released episode 666 yesterday, so tomorrow the new one comes drops. So getting close to 700, my friend. Getting close to 700.
Nice. That's
so,
awesome. I kind of wish I was I wish I was episode 666. Is that weird?
Yeah.
Is that weird?
Janie, no, it's not. Janie Taylor, though, she took it from you, and no offense,
She got it.
she's tougher
That
than
makes
both
sense.
of us. She's tougher than both of us. I'm not going to fight her on it.
That makes more sense. I agree 100%.
Yeah, it's like not going to fight. Hi, Jane, by the way. So everybody watching, listening, definitely check out David's series. Go to crephandcomics.com if you want to check out his stuff. For me personally, and I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to do this at the end of every episode until the release date. My next book, Alice 1, is ready to come out to the world. It'll be December 1st. The pre-orders are on Amazon as we speak. So real quick here, because I almost want to pretend I know what I'm doing. I almost want to pretend.
Fake it till you make it, right? Fake it till you make it.
Something to that effect, right? Something to that effect. So anyone that hasn't checked out my stuff yet, go there. The order link there for Facebook is right there, right? And the order link for Twitch, there you go. Guys, you can definitely check it out. Hit the pre-order button. $2.99. You get to see Alice in Wonderland play croquet with Jason of the Argonauts, because it's a totally Wonderland thing to do. So definitely check that out. My Twitch stream is Just Joshing Podcast. Hit the like button, follow button me there. I'm on YouTube, Joshua Pintello-Resco. Like, follow, subscribe. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. To everybody else, have yourself a great night.